When should you give up trying to get back with an ex? My name is Coach Adrian, relationship coach, and I am delighted to be able to do this video for you. Every week or every other week, a client is facing this situation where they are not sure if it is worthwhile for them to try to repair a broken relationship with their ex. Sometimes individuals that are just being broken up with feel like they need to give up because perhaps it's not that common to try to get an ex back, or so people think. When reality is, it is actually quite common. And many people who are coming out of relationships that have not worked feel like it is still possible for them to be happy with their significant other if a few changes are made. But it's important to note that in some cases, people do think that you should give up trying right away. The reality is that if you love, you must try. If you know you can do better than what you did during the relationship, you owe it to yourself to do better while being respectful of your ex's boundaries, wants, and needs. Ultimately, I don't want you to fall into obsession, not at the beginning, nor at the end of the process, because that's dangerous, and ultimately you're going to just hurt yourself and your chances of creating a new relationship in the future. That being said, if you believe that you can be happy with your significant other, if you believe you can be happy together, then you owe yourself this opportunity to just lay it all out there on the line. What it comes down to is that I don't want you to have any regrets. I want you to feel like you've approached the process the right way, that you have grown into the person that you know that you can be, and that you've been able to showcase that to your ex in the best way possible. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to be able to do that. And sometimes you may feel like you have done everything that you could, when in reality, you have not. And that is why it is very important to make sure that you approach this process of breakup recovery with a plan, that you understand what the next steps are to be, that things have actually been thought out, and that you're moving forward in carrying out that plan efficiently. Once you do this, you know that it's not as black and white as you perhaps have been made to believe. As you walk this path of personal transformation, getting back together becomes possible. Your ex realizes that they are not as sure as they once were. They realize they're not as happy, and they realize that it's not all your fault. You also start to realize that you can be happy without your significant other. You're no longer in a state of despair where you feel like you need that person's validation to get back together. And so it's not just one person trying to convince another. It becomes an organic process of attraction, seduction, just like you experienced when you first started to date. And ultimately, what I want you to understand is that if you decide to commit to this process of trying to get back with the one you love, it does not mean that you're giving up on everything else. It is the path towards healing, the path towards creating a new identity, is the path that will help you ultimately let go and move on if you choose to. But it is also the path towards rebuilding a healthy relationship. The choice to move on and to let go does not have to be made as early as you think that it does. And ultimately, if you do the work, it is no longer something that becomes unbearable. It is a choice that you're making and that you're doing because you realize that there's a certain level of peace and acceptance that comes with knowing that you did what you had to do, that you can look at yourself in the mirror and be very proud of the path that you've taken and that you're a better person for having gone through the challenge that you have gone through. Many of the clients that I've coached that have decided ultimately not to get back with their significant other were so happy. They really were thankful for how that process had changed them. They held no bitterness, no resentment, and they even felt bad for their significant other because they realized how much they had grown. I understand that your goal is to repair a broken relationship, to get back together, and that's what I want for you. And that's what I still believe that you can do. But ultimately what I want, like I said, is for you to have no regrets. It's for you to not give up because you're trying to please someone else or out of fear, but truly to choose to let go when you feel like that is what's best for all parties involved. And when you realize that you can be happier without them than with them. Choosing from a place, a true place of well-being, not from a place of despair, not asking you to fall on your sword at any point in this process. As long as there are actions that we can do, things that we can put in place to move the process along, to move the process forward, I invite you to continue to fight the good fight. Because you're not taking anything away from yourself by doing so. You're building yourself towards this individual that you know you can be. You are growing and developing through that process of personal transformation, while at the same time maximizing your chances of rebuilding a new relationship. That is what my philosophy is all about. And that is the measuring stick by which I enable clients to decide for themselves when it's time to let go and when it's time to continue to try to lay the foundation for a new relationship by the way that they approach communication with their significant other. Again, I am Coach Adrian. So grateful to be on this journey with you. So grateful for your trust. If you enjoyed this content, please let me know. Tell us what other topics you want us to address because we are here for you. And as always, keep fighting the good fight and see you soon for more awesome content.